Hello, hello, hello. This is Adelai Brown, your heart coach and heart realtor, and I want to welcome you to our monthly Heart Homes Lunch and Learn, where we homies get together and talk about purchasing a home, the process of purchasing a home, the major components to purchasing a home, and just all of the details that go into the whole idea of not just purchasing a home, but growing your real estate portfolio and allowing you to grow the wealth that you want to. So I am Adelie Brown, your heart coach and heart realtor. And I've been in real estate now for about 18 years from, me purchasing homes, me helping others purchase homes. And I've been a licensed real estate agent now for over 6 years. Um, I simply help families buy, sell, and invest in real estate. And it's more. What's more important for me is not just helping people purchase the homes, but also helping them get the clarity they need, the understanding that they need, so that they can make the best decisions for them and their real estate goals. So my motto is every heart deserves a home. And, I'm one of those people who know what it feels like to feel like you can never own a home, right? I've been on housing, I've been on Section 8, I've been kicked off of Section 8, right? I've paid rent, I've rented, I've been a homeowner now for over 14 years. And I also own investment property. And one thing that I do know is that um, your journey is your journey, and I am here to help and support you along the way. And so today we're talking about shopping for a home. And this is step 4 of the 10-step process that um, this is step 4 of the 10-step process that we take our clients through in our road to approval and our home ownership journey, right? And like I said, just with 15 plus years of experience, I am a hard work practitioner with a focus on emotional intelligence. And simply put, I like to say we grow heart equity, personal, relational, and financial wealth that we obtain through authentic living. And I'm a heart work practitioner because we grow heart equity by way of personal and professional development, community advocacy, and real estate. And all of those go together. Those pillars go together in the work that we do and how we show up in the community. And I'm an advocate for wealth building through authentic living. I don't believe we're supposed to be stressed and can't sleep at night because we have expenses and we're living a life that does not allow us peace and rest. I believe that we can have wealth and we can have abundance, and we don't have to worry about losing sleep over it. We don't have to have wealth and abundance and never getting to rest and never getting to enjoy our lives and our family and the people and the places that we love the most. So my mission is that every heart deserves a home, and I believe that there's a home for every heart. And that's why we do these monthly lunch and learns, so that you can have the information that you need for us to thrive through this home ownership process. So far, we started the Lunch and Learns back in December of 2025. So this is now our fourth session. And the first one we talked about, the first thing you want to do in your home ownership process is you want to get the right realtor. You want to hire a realtor that complements your life, the way you like to do things, how you like to show up in the world, and maybe they have similar values as you. But you want someone that cares about what you care about and is willing to work towards the goals that are important and what matters most to you. Um, so keep that in mind. The second thing we talked about back in January was budgeting and goal setting, because a lot of times people don't get to purchase their homes because they never take the time to plan and prepare. So when we think about budgeting and goal setting, just look at it as planning and preparation and strategizing for the purchasing journey ahead. Step 3, we talked about getting approved, and um Well, we talked about getting approved, and step four, which is where we are today, we're shopping for our home. Now, next month, when we do step five, we're talking about offer and negotiations, right? So when you find your home, what we'll talk about today, next month, we're going to talk about locking in the contract that allows you to move forward with the purchase of that home. So let's talk a little bit about the whole purpose of shopping for your home. This is usually the most exciting part of the home owning journey. This is when you're out and about, you're looking at the various properties, you've gotten your approval, you know how much you can afford. So now you're out and about working towards making sure that now you're going to want to find your home that you want to live in. For some people, they're looking at it as their forever home. Some people might be purchasing an investment property. Somebody may be purchasing a second home. Maybe you live in two different cities or two different states. Maybe you're looking for a property for your children or your parents. It really depends on where you are in your life and the purpose of purchasing at that time. But this is really where your vision starts to come to life. And this is where this decision will impact your long-term journey when it comes to wealth building using real estate. One thing you want to keep in mind when we are in this phase of shopping for a home, we really want to understand that you have to allow your strategy to be greater than your emotions, right? You really want to make sure that you understand what you can afford, that you are clear on what your non-negotiables are, and then you want to make sure that you understand what it's going to cost you to make that happen, right? So that's why we want to make sure that we are preparing for purchasing. And this is a big part of it because what happens in that, and it's so sad, a lot of times people start this purchasing process and then they miss out on the fact that um, they miss out on the fact that there are costs to getting in a home. There are costs to negotiating, and we'll get there. But this shopping portion is very big. One thing I want to say is well, we'll get into that. Let's go to the next slide. So it matters because this is where you're going to find your home, right? Period. The end. Know your non-negotiables. Clarity before touring. I think that this might be the most important part of the home shopping process. You want to know, like, before you step into a home, we want to get clear on what matters the most for you, right? So when we talk about things that support your lifestyle and your goals and what you're trying to achieve, we want to think about your commute to work. We want to think about schooling. If you have children, what does that look like? Childcare. You want to think about, some people have health issues and they want to make sure they're living someplace where they're within a certain amount mile range of a hospital. So when you're starting this process, you want clarity on what it is that you're trying to do. Like, it's nice to haves are bonuses, yes, but you have must haves versus nice to haves. And your must haves are, look, if I'm gonna purchase a house, these are the things I need. I've had quite a few people tell me, look, I must have 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. I don't want 3 bedrooms, 1 bath. I don't want 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. I'm okay with four, but I am not willing to pay for a home if I can't have 3 bedrooms and 2 baths. That's a must have for them. There's nothing wrong with that. But when we look at now, then that same person might say, I would like hardwood floors in my home. I would also like a 1/4 acre backyard lot. Okay, that's a nice to have. That's not a must have. But the 3 bedroom, 2 bath, that's a must have. So you want to get clear on what's important, right? So look at your lifestyle. Like I said, Where do you like to play? What do you do for leisure? I know a lot of people like to play pickleball. People are in crafting. So sometimes people want to live where they can work and play, but you want to make sure that the home that you're purchasing is in alignment with your lifestyle. I have had to talk to clients that, I'll say, well, what part of town do you want to live in? And they'll say it doesn't matter. And I'm like, okay, I understand that. But when we talk about traffic in the morning, and let's say your children go to school on in West Ashley, and then you move to Monk's Corner, that might not be the best location for you if you know you're going to be commuting to West Ashley every morning for the next 7 to 8 years while your child is in school. So let's think about getting clear on um, what's a deal breaker and what isn't. Um, but you don't want to allow emotional decisions to drive you. This is why you need a good agent because your realtor has your back. Your realtor should be asking questions and getting you, like I always tell my clients, let's go look at the property during traffic hours. I know a lot of agents don't like to show houses during traffic, but I do because I want clients to understand what it's really like when they're going to be trying to get home in the afternoon with work. There are many times we've gone to see homes and my clients are like, I can't live here. This traffic is too bad. But when we think about your commute to work, your commute to school, what does the safety plan look like? These are the things that you want to think about when you are shopping. And so you want to know your non-negotiables, your must-haves versus your nice-to-haves. How does this align with your lifestyle? What does your commute to home, work, school, play, family? When I purchased my home, I had a newborn. I had young children. So I didn't want to live. Most of my family was surrounded near James Island and West Ashley. So me purchasing a home in Somerville or Monk's Corner wasn't going to work for me. Not if my family was going to be able to help with childcare. So I had to sacrifice some of the nice to haves and focus on the must haves so that I could stay in a location that worked for me. Right. And that's why it's important for you to have a good agent to help you make those decisions. Okay, we're moving right along. Are y'all enjoying your lunch? Is everything going well for you on this Lunch and Learn? Make sure you put your questions in the comments. I'll be checking. And when we get to the end, I'll go through any questions. So if you're live on YouTube and you have a question, just make sure you put it in the comments and I will make sure and answer that for you. Okay, we're going to keep moving. So the other thing you want to keep in mind is you want to understand the market. Shop with insight, not guesswork. So what is happening at your price point? What I like to do is I encourage my clients before we go looking, I'm like, I really encourage my clients not to look at homes until they do an application and know how much they're approved for. Because it's very disappointing when you start looking at homes, these beautiful custom homes, and then you find out that your approval is $100,000, $200,000 less than what that home costs. And I'm not saying you can't eventually get there, but it can be disheartening. And I always tell them on you might want to hold off on like searching for a home until you're ready and you know exactly how much you can buy. Okay, so that's something I really want you to keep in mind. Um, what's happening in your price point? How fast are homes moving? The lower the price point, the faster the homes usually move. That's typically how it is. So if you have homes, and I don't want to really throw out prices because depending on where you are in the country, real estate prices really vary for homes and the sizes of homes. It just really depends on the location that you're in. But when you do get approved for a home, you really want to purchase a home. What like if your let's say your pre-approval is $300,000 and you look online and your agent is sending you homes at 300,000, you start to get a feel of what you can get for 300,000. And then you can start making decisions. A lot of people will see a home and they really like it. And then they go back and then they see active contingent or pending. And so when we think about how fast our homes moving at that price point, active, contingent, or pending means the home is now under contract. And typically that seller isn't taking any more contracts for anyone that might want to purchase that home. So if you notice that homes are moving really fast in your price point, then you and your agent, you're gonna have to make a quick decision when it's time for you to purchase a home. If you see something you like, you're not gonna have a week or two to mull over, is this the one? You may have to pull the trigger that day. So I tell my clients, once you get approved and we start putting in contracts, like if we put in an offer and like things start going fast, especially once that offer is accepted, and we'll talk about that later. But you want to pay attention to the market if you want to be an informed buyer, if you want to be someone that feels confident about the decisions you're making. You won't know everything, but that research will help you. Um, it's almost like when you think about shopping and going there looking for a home and not really understanding the market, it's kind of like driving around looking for a location without a map, like without having any instructions. You're just kind of driving because someone told you to look out for a couple landmarks, but you don't necessarily get to exactly, get to where you need to be. And even if you do, it takes forever because you didn't have that map to guide you. So when you understand the housing landscape, you have a better chance to make stronger decisions. You put in a more competitive offer, and you have a much better chance of getting a home that you want. Um, and when I talk about the idea of putting in a good offer versus one that isn't, your agent should be able to walk you through that. If you work with one of the perspective or hard home realtors, perspective living realtors or hard home realtors, you will, we will talk to you about how competitive this price point is, what kind of offer we might need to put in, how aggressive we may need to be, how much money you may need to put down, or how much you may need to pay in closing. These are conversations we have to have. When you go shopping, your agent needs to know how much money do you have to purchase a home? How much are you willing to spend? Are you willing to do repairs on your own, or are you looking for the seller to do everything? These are things you have to talk about so you can have a better expectation as you move forward. And and you also want to understand, you and your agent need to have an understanding of how the type of loan you're using will affect your strategy. Because depending on the loan you're using, that can impact how much down payments you can get or seller credits you can get. It can impact like who has to pay for what when it comes to inspection. So you want to do your research and you want to have great in-depth conversations with your agents about what's going on in the market so that when you are shopping and you're ready to put that offer in, your offer is a winning offer for the home that's right for you. So you want to stay ready to move. Preparation wins home. So when the right homes hit the market, you don't want to be getting ready for that home. You know how they say when you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And when you think about shopping, you want to stay ready, right? That means you keep your pre approval active. That means you have all of your documents ready. That means that you've talked to your agent about understanding the offer process so that you're not the one that could hold up the process just because you don't know or you're skeptical about it, right? You want to know your budget, and you also got to know when you want to walk away. You have to know when enough is enough. And for some homes, you may have a bidding war. For some people, you may have to negotiate and give a little more than you anticipated. So you want to know what your budget is and what you're walking away with. That's really important. But you want to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. So when that right house is on the market, bam, you can get it. I hope this is helping y'all. We're moving right along, and I hope y'all are enjoying your lunches. I had some grits and salmon patties for lunch. What are y'all having for lunch today? All right. Next step is touring with strategy. So when we think about shopping for a home, and remember, this is all we have a 10-step home buying process. And so this is step four, shopping for a home. And when you tour with strategy, and you keep hearing me talk about using strategy because I want you to see yourself as someone that is making a big investment, but I want you to see yourself as someone that can do this. A lot of times people hear words like strategy and they think, oh, I don't strategize. I don't do all of that. Yes, you do. And the life that you want wants you. You just have to lean into it, right? So when you think about touring a home, it's not just about looking at all of the decor and the fixtures and the paint and what kind of countertops. Is it granite? What kind of flooring? Is it tavatine or what kind of tile? Like it's so much more than that. It's about evaluating the bones of the home. It's about looking at the neighborhood, looking at what the long-term maintenance could be. Um, I teach my heart homies how to tour intentionally. When we are shopping for homes and we go in, we're looking at what are the major systems and how do they look to the naked eye? How does the roof look? What is happening when we're flipping the electrical switches and walking through the home? We turn the water on or flush the toilet just to make sure that that's happening, especially in a home that they like. Right? We want to make sure that we're not ignoring what needs to be addressed, but we also don't want to make sure we're spending too much time on cosmetic things that are something that you can have as put on your honey-do list or have as a Saturday project. So the bigger things you want to look at are the structure, systems, the condition of the home. How old is the HVAC system? How old is the roof? In South Carolina, and I think in Georgia, you have a property disclosure form that typically the seller will list this information. And sometimes it's accurate, sometimes it's not. But you really want to look into those major things. What's the plumbing like? What's the electrical? How's the foundation? Right? These are things you want to look at. What's the neighborhood and the surroundings? Are there any red flags? Do you notice any type of sloping or flooding in the backyard or the front yard? Are there any maintenance concerns? Do you see any issues when you look at the neighbors' homes and this home? Is there anything that is of concern? Because sometimes we get so caught up in, oh my gosh, that's a beautiful chandelier, and look at those countertops, and we miss out on the fact that there's a water leak right here, or that foundation looks cracked. Like, what's going on here? And so I really get my homies to look at what's important and try to look away from the things that really aren't. And I talked about this a little bit in the previous slide. Evaluate the entire property. You want to go beyond the pretty parts. The roof, the HVAC, the plumbing, the electrical, foundation, drainage. I like to go and see homes after we've had rain, especially a lot of rain, because I want people to see, what does the yard do? Do you see any flooding? Is there any leak in the ceiling or in the upstairs after it rains? A lot of times the rain can expose some of the issues that a home will have much better than a beautiful day like today. So when it's raining, even though it can be inconvenient, I like to tell my clients, let's still go check it out because we get to see what the drainage is like, right? We get to see things you wouldn't typically see when you talk about the quality of a home and how it's built. You also want to look at the HOA fees and the rules. Like, there are some communities that have very strict HOA policies. You might not want to live there, especially if you're the type of person that likes to be outside and have parties and enjoy, have things in your yard. These are things you want to think about. I tell people who like country living, you may struggle with having an HOA because a HOA will tell you when to put the trash can at the road or not. Can somebody park on the street in front of your house? So you want to consider these things. And also zoning and future development. Where I am right now, Charleston, South Carolina, in the Low Country area, and even in the Atlanta area, and I work in between. And there's a lot of growth going on between Charleston, South Carolina, and Atlanta. You have Augusta, Georgia, Charleston, South Carolina. I mean, Columbia, South Carolina, Orangeburg, South Carolina. You have Savannah just 2 hours away. So there's a lot of growth around here. So that means there are a lot of zoning changes. And there's future development. So I see people want to move to a certain area because they think, oh my goodness, it's quiet out here. And then, the next year there's a new 300 home development coming and it changes the whole landscape of the community. So you want to consider those things when you're purchasing. And you don't always know the changes with every political season, something changes, but these are the thoughts you want to have. These are the considerations you want to have at the forefront when it's time for you to move forward and purchase. And that's why it's important for you to not allow the beautiful fixtures, the stage rooms that you walk in. It might be a beautiful living room or bedroom. You may see those things, and that's there to cover up something that could be critical when it comes to you owning this home. So that's why you want a good realtor. You want to invest in your home inspections and termite inspections so that you can get as much. It doesn't mean you will find everything, but that means you get as much information as possible before you move forward. Now let's talking about some common home shopping mistakes. Um, we can avoid these things together, right? So falling in love with the property too fast. I want you to think about this. These mistakes are mistakes that can cost buyers thousands of dollars a year. And my job as a realtor is to help you um, not make those mistakes as much as possible because I believe that when you protect your peace, you protect your money as well. So, one thing you don't want to do is fall in love with a property too fast. Like, well, yes, you can fall in love with it, but you want to proceed with caution, understanding that the home inspection is usually going to be very telling and it's going to let you know what's going give you a better understanding of what's going on with the property. I look at the home inspection kind of like an extensive resume of the home. Um, so don't fall in love too fast because you may have to keep it moving because this is not the house for you. And I actually had a client just recently go through a similar type of situation and they had to walk away from a property that they had been under contract with for almost 2 months. And it was like headache after headache after headache. But good thing that they were open to moving on. And when they did move on, they found the perfect forever home. So that's something I want you to consider. Um, don't avoid ignoring resale value. The thing about resale value is the property values increase for the most part every place pretty much has a property value increase. But if you're purchasing your home with the intention of getting the most value out of it within a 2, 3, 5 year period, what have you, you want to pay more attention to the trends that are happening in that community, in that area, so that you can understand better what your investment might look like in the future when it's time for you to sell. Do not avoid the potential of repair costs. It's always going to cost more than what you think. And I feel like a lot of times people will love a home so much, they'll say, well, I can deal with this, or I can deal with that. And they really, and the repair can get too costly. So you want to make sure that you address everything that needs to be addressed because even if you don't get it fixed right away, at least you'll know what's going on. One of the worst things you can do is shop outside of your budget. You become what we call house poor, meaning you own your home, but you can't afford to do anything else because it costs you so much to live there. You want to make sure that you are purchasing your home, and I within budget. And I often urge my clients to purchase below the budget instead of looking at the approval amount that they're approved for. I ask my clients to work off an approval amount that's compared to the mortgage they want to pay because that's a more realistic understanding of how you be able to live in this home. And you also don't want to rush without clarity. You don't want to just rush and put in an offer and try to purchase a home when you're not 100% clear on, does this fit into your must-haves? Um, maybe you didn't agree with the travel time or the commute. Just take your time with it as much as you can. Even if homes are moving fast at your price point, I still encourage you not to rush. You might be in a state of urgency, but don't rush, right? And I talk to my clients about that. I've had a coach tell me that, and I keep that in mind. Urgency, but you don't want to rush. Okay. Any questions? Let me know. You can type them in the chat. All right. Now, as we go along your journey to purchasing your real estate, your road to approval, as we call it, I want you to understand that you do not have to go alone. Your realtor is your guide, and that is why I'm here to help you, to support you along the way. Um, I've helped families and individuals buy, sell, invest, and reposition themselves. But more importantly, I've helped them grow heart equity. I've helped them achieve clarity in their lives and, understand that homies don't let homies do life alone, right? I call our company is Heart Homes Realty, and I call you my heart homie because a homie is like a friend, an acquaintance, somebody that looks out for another person. That's how we define that. And here at Heart Homes, that's what we do for each other. So you have a homie that understands the road to approval, that has ushered countless others down that road and wants to support you every step of the way, right? I'm a licensed realtor and notary. I have experience with cross state buyers and just a very heart centered, clarity driven approach that I have. And I know I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but I promise you, if I'm your cup of tea, you're going to be real calm and real relaxed. You're going to love this cup of tea. All right. I'll be the best cup of tea for you. Um, because we family, we homies. Once we work together, we homies, and that's just that. And as I mentioned, you're not doing this alone. I offer tools and strategies and education to support you in making these informed decisions. Um, if you would like to talk more about your real estate journey personally, maybe you're an investor, maybe you're a doctor or a nurse, and you're trying to navigate purchasing a home and not wanting to put the 20% down. Maybe you're a veteran and you're trying to figure out how you can maximize your VA benefits. Wherever you find yourself, um, I want to encourage you to connect with us. We have market updates, property analysis services we can offer to you, strategy sessions, and we also have access to trusted vendors in the home buying process and after you purchase your home. So make sure you connect with us. You can go to the website Adelai Brown /Heart Homes Realty. You can also go to the link tree /Heart Homes, and it'll take you to the website as well. But just understand that you're not out here by yourself, and we do have tools to support and help you along the way. And one of those tools that we have is our Road to Approval Academy. The Road to Approval is a program where you learn the entire home buying process with clarity and confidence while also receiving credit, support and guidance and coaching when it comes to you making sure that you get your credit profile, your financial profile, as well as your mindset aligned with the road to approval. Because once you purchase your first home, that's just the beginning. You may want to purchase other things. You may want to start a business. You may want to become a real estate investor. You may want a second home. There are so many different things that you may want to do, and purchasing a home could be that first big step for you. But in this space of the road to approval academy, you have trusted professionals that can teach you the tricks of the trade because they've done it with so many others. We teach you how to fix your own credit while we also work with others who can help you when you talk about credit repair. But it really boils down to real time support, real time education, real community. Because let's be honest, we are living in a world where we are constantly connected all the time, but we feel so disconnected and so lonely. Every heart deserves a home, and every homie deserves a community that can support and love and care for them. And that's what the Road to Approval Academy is, right? So you see all that comes with it, and this is nothing compared to what you will get out of being in this community and growing with us. And if you'd like more information about it, let's set up a discovery session so we could talk about you and your situation and how we can support you in purchasing your home. So, next steps, let's keep building. Schedule your Heart Homes Discovery consultation today. There's a link. You can go to our link tree, and I'll make sure and hyperlink that on the slide the next time. But if you go to link tree backslash Heart Homes, it'll take you to where you can schedule a discovery session. You can also, let's keep building, join the Road to Approval Academy. This is a space where you don't have to be out here doing life by yourself. And the thing I love about the Road to Approval, once you reach the goal that you're trying to reach, you can stay or leave the membership, but as long as you're with us, you're going to constantly be learning, constantly get that support that you need to grow your real estate portfolio. Make sure you keep your pre approval updated because you want to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And start your personalized search. So if you haven't started searching for your home, reach out to me so we can get you approved and get you shopping. Before you leave today, I want you to do me a favor. Decide which action you're going to take before the next session. I'm going to go back. You have schedule your Hard Homes discovery session, join the Road to Approval, get your approval status updated, start your personalized search. So before you leave today, choose one action you want to take before we meet again next month. Remember, every second Wednesday of the month, we are here talking about steps in the home buying process. Please invite your friends. Let's do lunch together. Bring your work buddy with you the next time. Y'all been talking about buying a house. Why don't y'all do that together here with me? Right? Let's do it together. Okay. So choose one action to take before next session. Let your homies know. Share today's insight with someone you care about. So, whatever you learn for today, share with them and also invite them on so that we can stay connected for the future lunch and learns and any other webinars or teachings that we may have going on. So, we're at the questions and discussion session now. I'm just going to check really quickly on YouTube. Do you guys have any questions for us in the YouTube world? Nobody in our Heart Homes classroom has any questions for us today. And as you watch this, as you process what we've talked about, I want you to consider what stood out to you today, what questions, and your next step. What stood out to you? What questions you have about the homeowning process or your next step in homeownership? I am Adelai Brown, founder and realtor here at Heart Homes Realty. Every heart deserves a home, and there's a home for every heart. And here's the information here for us to stay connected. Okay, it's Heart Homes Realty. So if you want to, you can screenshot that, you can share it. You can also find me on Instagram. I'll make sure and put that on the next one. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook, Adelai Brown Real Estate. Um, and let's stay encouraged. Let's stay connected. Let's keep each other lifted. It is really important for me to spend this time with you. I am thankful that you thought enough about me to spend your lunch break with me so that we can do lunch together, do life together, do real estate together. I'm very appreciative of y'all, and I look forward to these times together. And I'm excited about next month as we move along the process. Thank you, thank you, thank you. See you at next month's Lunch and Learn. We're going to be talking about offer and negotiations of the contract. So we've shopped today, and once you decide you have to offer and negotiate that contract, and we'll talk all about it next month. So I thank you guys for being here. I love you very much. This is Adelai Brown, your heart realtor and your biggest heart homie. And remember, every heart deserves a home. There's a home for your heart, and let's find that together. Okay? Love y'all. Have a great day.